So now it's very important, the actual motion in the plane, that is what the we have to discuss about the projectile motion. Okay, so then what exactly projectile motion is? Okay, so suppose if I want to move this duster. Okay, suppose if I want to make this duster to move, what I have to do? I have to apply some force. Then after that again I have to apply some force. After that again I have to apply some force. I should keep on applying the force. If I continuously apply the force, then what will happen? It will move in in given direction. But projectile motion is something different. Suppose you are having this cap over here. Okay, if this is the cap, if I make this cap to move, no need to keep on applying the forces. Just have to give the what initial velocity. Suppose if you give initial velocity, so what will happen? That cap is moving. So what we are doing here? We are giving some initial velocity. Then what will happen? It will start moving in this direction. Why it is going down? Because of action of the gravity. Okay, gravitational force is acting on that body. You have given the force only at the initial time. Okay, when time is 0, at that time you have given the force. That way you have given one time force. But after that you are making that projectile to, or that body to move under what? That body to move under the action of gravitational force. Okay, then what exactly projectile is? You will give some initial velocity. Then you allow that body to move under the gravity, or it is allowed to move under the gravitational force. That is what we call it as the projectile motion. It may be it may move upward, then it may come to downward, or it may you can just give the horizontal velocity, then directly it can go it can start moving under the downward direction. So like that, there are so many projectile motions in our day-to-day life. All your games are what it is related to what your projectile motion. We'll see what exactly the projectile or projectile motion. Okay, so let us first we understand what is projectile first. Okay, so projectile. Okay, so what exactly projectile is? Just now what I mentioned is, we have to give some initial velocity, or we have to give some force. Then what we have to do? We have to make that particle or that object to move under what? Move under the gravity. Suppose there is a building. Okay, and you are standing over here. Okay, you will throw a ball. So you will not throw like this. You will just throw it in the horizontal direction. Okay. Obviously, you have given some initial velocity. You have given some initial velocity. Okay. After that, when body comes here, when an object comes here, when particle comes here, you are not going to give any extra velocity. Then what will happen? It start move under what? It start move under gravitational force. So here, this is the force applied by you. Here, what force is applying? This gravitational force is acting on the body. Okay. So it is getting velocity, or it is getting force because of what? Because of gravitational or acceleration due to gravity. So here it start moving under what? It start moving under the gravitational or acceleration due to gravity, or simply you can say gravitational force. Okay. So or suppose you can suppose you are standing on the ground, you may throw a ball in this direction. Okay. You have given some initial velocity here. Okay, you are going to give some initial velocity. Okay, so after that, again you will not go here and again you will push it, or again you will give velocity. No, you are giving velocity one time. So after that, what will happen? It start moving. For some time it will move in upward direction. Then what will happen? Then it start moving under the gravity. Why it is coming downward? It is coming in downward direction because of action of gravitational force. Because gravitational force is acting. Then you may ask me, here it is moving in upward direction, but the gravitational force is acting here also. Here also gravitational force is acting. Here it is moving in downward direction. Why it is moving in upward direction? Because you have given some some velocity, you are given some force which is more than your gravitational force. So that is why it is moving upward. So because of this continuous action of gravitational force, the force given by you go on decreasing. That is why it will not go somewhere here. So it will become 0 over here. Here velocity will become 0. Then it start moving under what? It start moving under the gravity. Okay. So this kind of motion of an object is called as what? Is called as a projectile. Okay. So how we can define the projectile? You can define projectile as an object and an object which is given initial velocity, an object which is given initial velocity, then it is allowed to move under acceleration due to gravity, or it is then allowed to move under the gravity. Okay. So an object which is given initial velocity, then it is allowed to move under gravity. That is called projectile. Okay. So this is what how we can define the projectile. Okay. So now suppose if you start if you do some initial velocity to some object, so this is if you consider this as the what plane or horizontal, obviously there should be a vertical component. Okay, so this is what x and y axis. Okay, because it is moving under the plane means it should have the what two components of whatever it may be, velocity, displacement, whatever. Okay. So suppose if we give some initial velocity here, okay. So initial velocity, if you take its component along x, this will become what? Ux. Here it will become uy. That means it is moving under the action of two forces, or it is simultaneously moving in two directions. But it is not moving in two directions. It is moving in one direction. Then what is this direction? This direction is nothing but resultant of x and uy. Okay. Then you can say projectile is an object which moves under the resultant of two perpendicular forces. You can say like that also. Okay. So it is moving under the moving along the resultant of two forces acting along perpendicular directions. Okay. So that also you can give. So what will happen when you do some velocity? So it will come over here. Here also you can divide its velocity into two components. After time t, here its velocity may become v. But remember, here it is moving along horizontal, but here it is vertical. One thing you may observe: this horizontal distance is more than this vertical distance. Why? Some doubt may arise. Why the projectile moves? Why it will not take the equal horizontal distance and equal vertical? Always the vertical is less than the horizontal, because when the object is moving, if you look at the horizontal direction, there is no other force which is pulling it back, or there is no other force which is pulling it in downward direction. Whatever the velocity you are giving, with the same velocity it is moving. That means along the horizontal, velocity is what? Velocity is constant. Velocity is constant means what? Acceleration. Acceleration is what? Acceleration is 0. It is not accelerating along the x axis. Horizontal acceleration is going to be 0. Okay, because we are considering velocity is constant. That is why it is keep on moving. When it will stop? When the projectile come and hit the ground, then only it will stop. Otherwise, the constant force keep on acting on the horizontal direction. Okay. Here, if you consider the vertical, suppose it is some force is acting in this direction. Some force F is acting in this direction. In downward also some mg force is acting. Okay. So that is why resultant will become what? Resultant will here resultant will become F minus mg. Here along the horizontal what? Along the horizontal it is you should not take over here. Vertical it is what? F minus mg. Along horizontal F only. Getting my point? Here it is F only, but here it is F minus mg. Okay. So that is why when it start moving, there is a downward pull acting on the projectile. That is why it will not take much height. It will take more horizontal distance. Okay. So that is what the reason. So one thing you can understand here, when it is moving, if you consider the vertical motion, there is an acceleration because of acceleration due to gravity. So along the vertical direction, acceleration is equals to what? Some g acting on that one. Actually, it is acting downward, so you can take it as minus z. Along horizontal motion, acceleration is going to be 0. Okay. So these two things we should be remember. Then you may ask me what you can ask. Sir, is there is a air in the atmosphere? So when it is not possible an object to continuously move with the same velocity in the horizontal direction, because air will oppose it. Obviously, what will happen? Its velocity go on decreasing. If velocity is go on decreasing, obviously acceleration will come in action or retardation will come in action. Then you can ask me that one. How we can take velocity constant over here? Velocity will not be constant because some air resistance is there which opposes the motion of the object. When it opposes the motion of object, velocity will decrease. So obviously velocity will not go into constant. That means there is some acceleration or retardation. Then you may ask me, what about this one? So that is why, even though this practically it is there, we are taking velocity constant. So that means to study about the projectile we have to make some assumptions. What is that assumption? Along the horizontal, air resistance is going to be what? We are going to neglect the air resistance. Getting my point? We are going to neglect the air resistance. That is the biggest assumption we are going to take here. Remember, assumptions: neglecting air resistance along horizontal direction. Not only horizontal, simply you can say neglecting air resistance for projectile motion, for a projectile. Okay. So this is what very important what assumption we are going to make over here. Okay. Assumption. Remember, we are neglecting the resistance offered by the air for the projectile motion. That is the biggest the assumption. So we can look at one more assumption also. If you are taking the g value, so g if you take for a longer distances, the value of g may changes because it depends on the value of h. Okay. So but here for the whole motion of projectile, we are going to take g as a constant. Okay. We are going to take acceleration due to gravity as a constant. Okay. So that is also an assumption we can write. So taking value of g constant, taking value of g constant. Actually, it is a variable for a longer what positions or for the different positions when the heights are more. So value of g is going to be different, but we are taking it as a constant for the whole journey of the projectile. Okay. So this is what all about the projectile. When you come over here, see here. Now it's very important. Acceleration along horizontal is what? 0. That means the velocity is constant. Here if it is ux, here also it is going to be what? Ux. What about this one? This is not going to be ux. It is not going to be uy. It is something else. You can just say u, or you can say some v, vy you can say. If I draw it here, if I draw it here, so here it is what? Here it is what? Here it is going to be u. So along horizontal ux, along vertical uy. If I take over this point, so velocity will get changed. Okay, velocity will get changed because it is spending some time over here. So at time t, what is the horizontal and vertical components? This is what vx, and here it is what vy. Okay, what is vx? Since it is constant, velocity is constant, means if it is ux here vx is also equals to ux. Vx is equals to ux. Why? Because there is no acceleration along horizontal motion. Wherever you can take here. Along the horizontal, velocity is going to be what? Constant. Here also vx is equals to what? Ux only. But vy is not equals to uy. Why? Here g is not acting 0. Here some g is acting in downward direction. So you cannot write simply vy is equals to uy. Vy, what you can write? Vy you can write it as uy into u plus v equals to u plus at, that is g into t. You can take it as minus. Okay. So this is what vy. Uy and uy are not same. Okay. So uy is not equals to vy, but ux is equals to vx. Getting point? Why? That is what we have assumed. Neglecting a resistance. So velocity along horizontal is constant, but not vertically. Vertically, not use formula v equals to u plus at. Okay, so you will get some different values. Okay. Similarly, if you come at this point, so what will happen here? When it is going over here, it is no more moving along the vertical direction. So here what we will vy will become 0. What about vx? Vx is again ux only. Vx is again it is ux only. But vy is going to be what? Vy is going to be 0. Okay. So similarly, if you come over here, so what will happen? It is along this direction. This is what vx, and it is what vy. Okay. So vx is equals to what? Ux. What about vy? Vy is again what you have to do. You have to use this formula uy minus zt. But what will happen here? It will come negative because it is in downward direction. So vy is not going to equals to uy. It will be a different. Okay. So this is what how we can analyze the projectile motion. We will go through that. We will go through the analysis of the projectile. You will understand all these things. Okay. This is what just I am just telling you what about the assumptions. What are the assumptions we are making? Okay. So we will analyze this now. So we will analyze that projectile motion. We will see what path or what velocities it will take. Okay. So let me take x and y axis over here. This is what x. This is what y. So I will project an object over here. Okay. So let me take. This is what the projectile. Okay. So now what I can do here, this is what original, so I will give some initial velocity over here, that is what u. Initial velocity is u. Take letters still here. Okay, so this is what the u. I have given some initial velocity u. Then what about the this is what along the x, this is what along the y. First I will write the assumption. What are those assumptions? First assumption is if you take its components, what is its component along the x-axis? This is going to be ux. Along this, it is going to be uy. Okay. What is first assumption? We are neglecting a resistance. That means velocity along horizontal is constant. Velocity, you can say simply horizontal velocity. Horizontal velocity is what ux equals to constant. That means it is ux only. Along the whole journey, it is going to be ux only. What about acceleration? Acceleration means ax is going to be what? Ax is going to be 0 because velocity is constant means acceleration is 0 because rate of change of velocity is not acceleration. Now second assumption, what is that? The vertical motion. So what is the acceleration? That is uy is not constant. Uy is not constant means what is the acceleration? Ay is minus g. It is minus g. So if you write the acceleration, what is the acceleration then? Ax I cap plus ay j cap. That means acceleration is equals to ax is to 0. This is to 0 plus ay is what? Minus g j cap. That means acceleration is minus g j cap. Okay, acceleration is minus g j cap. Okay, this is what the beginning our assumption. Okay, now if you want to write what is the velocities components along here, if you are making some angle, if you are giving some angle of projection, then what is the ux? Can I write ux as ux equals to u cos theta? You know already how we can divide the components. Okay, so this will become what? Along here ux is equals to u cos theta, and here uy is equals to what? U sin theta. Okay, so here it is u sin theta, here it is what? U cos theta. Okay, so what is uy? Uy is u sin theta. So what is u then? U is the initial velocity. Okay, so if u is initial velocity, u is initial velocity. Okay, so if u is the initial velocity, then ux is going to be their components. You can say these are the components of initial velocity. Ux is equals to u cos theta and uy is equals to u sin theta. Okay, now if you want to see after a time, this is what at t equals to 0. This is at t equals to 0. Okay, after some time, or the velocities at time t, okay, means after some time, when it comes over here, its velocity will become what? Its velocity will become v. Okay, and you already know that this is what vx and this is what vy. Vx you can simply write it as what? Vx you can simply write it as ux. Why? Because horizontally velocity is not going to change. That is what our assumption. We are neglecting air resistance means whatever the velocity you are given, with same that velocity body keep on moving. Okay. So what about the vy? Vy I will write uy. You should say it is wrong because it is not constant. Because what? Some acceleration due to gravity will act here in downward direction. Okay. So then how we can find uy? Uy you can find it as vy you can find it as uy minus g into t. Okay, that is what your p equals to u plus at. A is what? A is minus g over here. Okay, you are getting a is minus g and u is what? uy. Okay, so that is why you are getting vy equals to uy minus gt. These are the what? These are the components of velocities. Instead of writing the velocity, I will write components of velocities. Okay, or velocity components of velocities. Okay, so you got vx and vy. These are what? At time t. Okay, now if you look at the the distances covered. So if you come here from here to here, it has traveled some. It has covered some x distance and y distance. This I will take it as what? X distance. From here to here I will take it as x distance, and from here to here I will take it as y distance. That we have to find out. So what is x distances or displacement? The displacement components. So at time t, not at 0. At 0 displacement is 0 only because body is not moving. So the displacement components at time t. So how we can write? First I will take x displacement along x. So how we can write? X equals to velocity into time. No need to use this formula. What is that formula? S equals to ut plus half at square. No need to use. Why? Because a is what? A is 0. If a is 0, what remains is only this much. Let us write this only. No need to worry about that. So if you are writing along x, you have to take velocity along x. What is velocity along x? Ux. Okay, so ux then into t plus half a into t square. But a is what? A is 0 because along the horizontal. So x equals to ux into t. This is what the displacement along x, or you can write x equals to what you can write in place of ux. What you can write? You can write u cos theta into t. So this also you can write. This is what the displacement along x. Very, very important. We are going to use this in many places. So remember, x equals to u cos theta into t. If any doubt, you can go through again once again. Okay. So now displacement component along y. So along y, what you can write? Y equals to uy into t plus half. Here acceleration is not 0. You can take minus g into t square. So what you can write? You can write it as y equals to uy is what? Uy is u sin theta. Into t minus half gt square. Okay, remember these two equations, very, very important. Okay, so let me write this as 1 and 2. So these are the what? These are the displacements along the x and y components, or along the x and y axis. Now you can ask me why you are doing all those things, because I want to know what is the path of project. Okay, whether it will be a parabola or it will be a hyperbola or what it is. Okay, or ellipse. So that we have to find. So for that, what we have to do? We have to write the final equation in terms of x and y. That means I have to remove t from here. Okay, so if I want to remove t from here, so what I have to do here? Substitute value of t in equation 2 to remove the t. In equation 2. So what is equation 2? Equation 2 is y equals to u sin theta into t minus half gt square. Okay, so substitute t value from there, from equation 1. Okay, from equation 1, what you can write? T equals to x divided by u cos theta. We have x equals to u cos theta into t. So t equals to x divided by u cos theta. Okay, substitute this t here. So what you will get? Y equals to u sin theta multiplied by x divided by u cos theta minus half g, right, as it is. What is t square? T square is x square divided by what is this? U square cos square theta. Okay, so u will get cancelled. Y equals to sin theta divided by cos theta will be the tan theta. Okay, sin theta by cos theta is what? Tan theta into x minus, so what is this one? Gx square, or simply you can write g divided by 2 u square cos square theta into what? Into x square. Okay, so this is what the equation of projectile or path of projectile. Equation of path of projectile, or simply you can say equation of projectile. If you look at the equation, compare this with we know that y equals to ax plus bx square. What is this? This is nothing but equation of parabola. This is nothing but equation of parabola. What you are getting? You are also getting same thing. If you take this as a, so x is there as it is. In place of plus minus, minus is there. No need to worry about that one. B is some constant, so b is there. So x square is there. X square is there. Okay. So comparing these two, that means your projectile is moving in what? It is moving just like a parabola because equations are similar. Okay. So that is why path of projectile is what? Path of projectile is parabola. Remember this point. Very, very important. The path of projectile is what? It is a parabola. Okay. So these all things you have to do. Very important for your board exam. They may ask you to show that the path of projectile is a parabola. So you have to do all these things. Okay. You have to draw the diagram. Then you have to write the ux to uy. Then write vx vy. Then write the x and y. Then you remove the t from the y component. Okay. So you will get some equation, and that equation is similar to what? Ax plus bx square. So